Hello, and welcome back to the Brighter Podcast. My name is Chelsea,
Hi, my name's BatSheva.
and my life is so much brighter thanks to BatSheva.
And my life is a lot brighter thanks to Chelsea.
We love to come to you and share tools, techniques, stories, in hopes that our sharing will help to make your life brighter. And today, we're going to be bringing you a special edition about traveling and is it possible to maintain your homeostasis while away from home? But before we do that, let's all come together, centered, grounded, by taking a few deep breaths. So taking a deep inhale in through the nose and exhaling out the mouth. Another deep breath in, filling up the belly, then the ribs, then the chest. And exhaling out, chest, then ribs, then belly. Final breath, deep breath in, breathing in love, kindness, compassion. And breathing out anything that's ready to go, let it go.
Yay.
Amazing. Yay. It's one of my favorite things to do, just arrive in the space.
Really does make a difference.
It does. It totally does. I try to remember it before responding to a question, before walking into a conversation. Whenever I park the car and arrive back at home, it's like, okay, I'm arriving here now. Let's just arrive. Because sometimes the monkey mind can be wandering lots of other places for me. So it feels good to be able to bring it back in, connect through the breath. Here we are. Today's a big week for me. I'm going to be leaving on what is called Jam Cruise, which, if you don't know what it is the most fun cruise you could ever go on. Literally, especially if you love dressing up, if you love live music, if you love just seeing thousands of adults literally in childlike form, because it is everyone living out whatever their dream is in that moment. And maybe it's glitter everywhere, and maybe it's a costume for that themed day. Maybe it's just dancing and letting loose. It's relaxing, lounging, it's exploring, it's hanging with friends. It's all the things. And so as I prepare to disembark for that journey, we are coming to you to talk about what it looks like to maintain your center while you're on vacation, so that whenever you come home, you not only feel like your cup is filled from the experience, but you don't feel so drained like you need a vacation from your vacation, or that like you've gotten so off track with your daily routine that you're like feeling like really like down, but also that you allow yourself to really be present where you are. So for me in the past, maybe I was like so strict about what my morning routine was, or about what my what I was eating, all these different things, that maybe I missed out on some opportunities to be present with friends or to enjoy a certain experience that was happening because I was very rigid. And so I've been thinking about that a lot this week, and BatSheva and I thought that we would discuss it and share our thoughts with you all.
It's interesting to talk about this topic because I don't travel as much as Chelsea. Actually, I had never even heard of Jam Cruise until Chelsea enlightened me, and it sounds ridiculously fun and amazing. But in my current life, including the past couple of decades, I've had a vacation here and there, but for the most part, my travel consists of going back east with my children to stay at my mother's house. She has a really beautiful place on the water in Maryland. And I appreciated this topic from the point of view of visiting family, or even sometimes family visiting me, which can also throw off, daily routines, because I find myself, depending on the vacation, sometimes really sticking to certain techniques and tools that I use in my regular life at home that help to ground me and center me within myself. And then I think, for example, this last time I was back east visiting over Thanksgiving for a long week with all the family, I had insomnia. I had a lot of different situations come up for me. And I had simultaneously mostly abandoned a lot of my journaling and daily meditation practices. And it actually wasn't until Chelsea and I, luckily for me, we were still doing the Daily W exchange, which for those of you who are just like tuning into our podcast now or in recent episodes, if you look back into, I think it's our second episode, we go into depth about this wonderful tool, the Daily W's. Luckily for me, we were still doing that. Chelsea was around and able to do that with me because she responded to where I was at. And she gave me all these amazing suggestions about being able to relax my body and my mind. And she reminded me about the app Insight Timer, which one of my favorite apps, but I'd literally forgotten about it in just the chaos of being in a family vacation. And I was able to do some of those things and reground myself and sleep and have a little better of an experience towards the end of my stay. So I'm interested in this podcast also as a learner because I think for me, I'm still looking for what is the best way to go into a different environment outside of my home and hold on to myself while still being able to enjoy and immerse myself wherever I go.
Yes, I remember that. Oh my gosh. And it's so interesting to think about also the dynamic of like who you're going to be with. Like, what does that look like? What are their needs or what are their expectations? And what is your relationship to your boundaries? And where are you in the relationship with whoever you're going to be surrounded with for the trip or the vacation or whatever you want to call it? For me, jam cruises in the past have this is my 4th one, so I'll get a nice shiny robe this year. It's like a $10,000 robe or something if you add up, like, all the trips it takes to get you, it takes 4 times, and I think it's, like, $2,500 or something like that for, like, each trip, so it's, like, funny that it's, like, this very expensive robe, but whatever. It's so fun. It's not even about the
You
robe.
they give it to you if you've
What?
been to that many jam cruises?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
after you get a swag bag every year, but each year, like, the more times that you've gone, the more things that you get the sweeter your swag bag is,
got it.
and the 4th year is when you get your robe, and people wear them around, people decorate them, they make them their own, and so it's really funny, but just, like, thinking about the cost of it. It's really not about that because it's about the experience, and so much. I mean, it pays for itself. The music, I think, starts around noon and it goes until like 5 a.m. is what time the disco usually shuts down. But then you can literally find music on the boat, like other people just randomly playing, like on the back of the boat by the pool, like watching the sunrise. And it's really incredible. But anyways, back to kind of that. So with the jam cruises in the past, I've kind of ranged all over the place but my like no routine and just like going with the flow and doing and then coming home and really being like wiped. And then the last one that I was on, I was really focused on maintaining my exact routine and only like participating in like these wellness at sea events and then like whatever music was outside of that. And so this time I'm really looking forward to kind of blending and making it my own special event. Some of the things that I like to take with me are like I have a little altar that I take, but I don't take everything. I mean, I have an altar that I do my meditation and breath work and yoga and qigong in front of here at home. But I just take a few things from that just to kind of like have my little sacred space. And I also take my cacao because I do enjoy having that. I don't drink alcohol, and cacao is not only an amazing thing for me for work, as far as creativity, communication, all the things, not to mention the nutrients that are in it. But it also is so heart opening that whenever I'm attending an event, a live music event, social event, it's really allows me to open up and be receptive and just connect on a deeper level, I think. So I'll definitely be taking some of that. So that helps. And then it's really for me this time, I think my goal is just to carve out like 20 minutes in the morning, be that 5 minutes for each of my practices. 5 minutes qigong, 5 minutes yoga, 5 minutes breath work, and 5 minutes meditation. And I'm going to start with that because 20 minutes is totally manageable for me. It's like, okay, I do all of these things and like not have to get up super earlier, but also have that just that little bit of time to myself. One thing that I've been diving into is my human design. And if you don't know about human design, it's incredible and really fascinating. It's another tool that you can use just to kind of get to know yourself more. I think her name is Jenna Zoe. It's like myhumandesign.com. You go on there, you put in like where you were born, the date, the time, and it will give you like this whole chart. And it has to do with like the chakra system and the tree of life, and like all these different numbers. And basically on there, it will tell you like one of your four types and where you operate from. And that's kind of like where you make your decisions and how to pay attention to what decisions you're making, what it feels like whenever you're on the path and what it feels like whenever you're off the path. So for me, as I've learned more about myself, I operate from my sacral. So it's like really tuning in to my sacral chakra, to my emotions, and to the sensations that I feel whenever something is a circumstance or a choice or a decision comes up. And if I feel, for me, like the things that say yes or are like, yes, this year, this is the way, is excitement or pleasure. So if I feel that, like, ooh, like that rush, or I can feel it in my body, or maybe it's just like a movement of the spine, like that is saying like yes. And if I feel frustration, that is saying like, this is not the way. So I'm actually really excited to put that into play more as I decide what bands to see, what events to embark upon, whether it be, sometimes that means like leaving the group, which in the past, it going to music festivals or things like that, maybe that's something I would not do. Like I would forfeit whatever I wanted to see in order to go with the group and stay together. But as I've been on this solo journey for a little while and deepening my relationship with myself, it's been fun to venture out on my own and meet new people and have the experience and do what feels right in my body. So I'm looking forward to that.
I love that, especially because it makes me think about the importance of this concept that I originally was introduced to in my somatic therapy sessions a couple of years ago with my friend who's this really gifted somatic therapist. And we came up with this concept of me being the main character of my own life, which, as somebody who kind of automatically always sought who I could make feel better, who I could comfort, who I could serve, it was almost a revelation like, wait, I need to be the main character in my own life. And then recently, another friend texted me a beautiful quote from a woman, I think Esther Perel, someone she follows online. And it was that we should be the loves of our own life, like that I can be the love of my own life. And I've been playing with this concept anyway because she texted it to me. And I felt like there was a lot of synchronicity in the work that I'm doing internally with this concept, because to be the love of my own life, it means, for example, I was thinking about it, like parts of my body that I don't love. Well, if I'm the love of my own life, I love those parts almost more than any other part, because that's how we feel about people we love that much, right? We like, I mean, I remember that being in partnerships and, loving the quote unquote defects or whatever is not the normal. I almost loved it more. I can certainly say that with my children. So I've been playing with this concept. And what I just heard from you, Chelsea, that totally inspired me for the next time I travel, whenever that will be, or when I host people, which is going to be happening soon for me this month, to continue to play with that idea, because I feel like the manifestation of that idea is exactly what you're saying. Like, how can you treat yourself to the most delightful experience? And that means taking your little pieces of your altar. And I did do that in the past. I took my meditation. I have kind of like this wonderful soft wool blanket that I wrap myself in when I do my 1 hour daily meditation. And I used to take it all the time when I would go way, and I didn't take it on that last trip. I kind of, like, sacrificed the space in my carry-on, but anyway, I ended up checking bags. Like, I don't know what my excuse is. I have no excuse. I better take it next time because I think that also a little bit helped ground me in my daily practices. So I love that concept of bringing things from our home, just a few little things to help us remind us of who we are, what we love about our day to day self, and how we're investing already in ourselves. And certainly, if you feel that you're not doing that, there's no time like the present. You're never too late. And if you're hearing this podcast, then this is your sign to start to explore and see what things will light you up in your home day to day. And then by extension, to bring those into your travel physically. And then, as Chelsea was saying, which I loved so much, mentally bringing in the inspiration that will light you up individually. And I mean, going with her husband, she's going to be surrounded by strangers, friends, people she's seen over years. And she sees all these festivals and she's going to enjoy their presence. But then to hear you say, Chelsea, that you're also looking forward to like being with yourself and doing the things you want to do and going off by yourself, maybe here and there, and then coming back to the group and having your 20 minutes instead of what might be, hour and a half at home. This all sounds really inspiring to me, and I love it. The one other thing you also made me remember when you mentioned how you're gonna alter your morning routine, or you may alter it, is we posted on our Brighter Facebook page that I invite everybody to come join and be a part of. It's something called the 5-minute meditation challenge. We chose the 5-minute meditation challenge for anyone who has not yet started a meditation practice, or for those of you who used to have one but fell off, because a lot of times we feel it has to be all or nothing, all meaning 1 hour, or all meaning every single day, minimum half an hour or whatever. And in my own life, I have found even just 5 minutes, and you set your timer, and you can do it to music or no music, and you can do it to guided meditation or no guided meditation. But especially, I think, in silence, since it's only 5 minutes and you just listen to your breathing, or you can do anything that lights you up, a type of breathing that works for you, that you either discover on your own or that you've learned. And to hold yourself accountable to just 5 minutes a day, do it for 1 month. And that way you bring it with you if you go on vacation. And anybody can find 5 minutes. You can have a goal to do it in the morning. And then if you don't get to it, you do it right before sleep. But that's another suggestion I wanted to bring up here because it's such a beautiful technique and tool. It's so doable, it's so easy, and it travels really well.
Yes, starting off in smaller bites. Just like as you just said, BatSheva, we don't have to do a full hour or meditate for 20 minutes. Like it doesn't have to we make the rules of our own life. Sometimes we forget that. Sometimes it's like, "Oh my gosh, I have all these things to do." But like who put the things on the list or who has decided that it has to be a certain way? It's usually us. And so just kind of and maybe it's 2 minutes, whatever it is, it's just starting off in manageable bites. It's like the quote, every journey begins with a single step. Every meditation practice begins with the first minute. And so just even gifting yourself 60 seconds to just sit there is a gift.
Oh, and I forgot about the cacao that you mentioned because I did mention in an earlier podcast that I brought home the cacao that I also buy from Chelsea's company, Soulscription, because it's so wonderful and it's so heart opening and mind softening and expanding. And I grind it up ahead of time, bring it with me in the right amounts. And I actually ran out a couple days early on my last trip, and I was so bummed about that. So next time I won't do that. I had brought extra to share, and I did share a little bit, but I didn't bring enough. So that's something I actually, back in my coffee days, we used to always bring coffee everywhere, this really special coffee that my ex-husband would roast. It's also nice, I think, for the ritual and to bring that from home to where you're going, as well as experiencing wherever. I mean, a cruise is one thing, but sometimes we'll travel to, a more immersive village or country or city where we really want to be in the local flavors and scenes. But I love this concept of also bringing a part of ourselves and what lights us up as well, so that there's a balance and a commingling. And like you said, that it can
Mm.
be easier to come back and transition home, which can be so hard.
Yeah, the transition home is always It's always different. It's always like what, how long was I gone? What did I use? What do I have planned whenever I come home? I always like to give myself at least one day whenever I get back before scheduling things. I used to schedule my trip to last, like, squeeze out every last minute. I would take the latest flight home. I would have to work, the next morning. Like I was like, nope, if I'm on vacation, I want the entire time to be vacation time. And for some people that may work, but it's really, I think a lot of it is really just like tuning into yourself, your own body, your own mind, and seeing like what works for you. How do you feel whenever you come back from certain things? Like, how much time would you like to have? Do you need to catch up on sleep? Do you need to do some laundry before you're put back into whatever your normal weekly routine is? Is there going to be food there? That's another thing. We always like eat, try to eat all of the food like the few days before we leave. It's literally like what is in the cabinets that you can make a meal out of, which this time I'm actually doing a little bit of a fast because going into the cruise, I wanted to be a little bit more clear minded. So I'm actually on a fast right now, and I'm looking forward to that and kind of what that brings and illuminates as I head into this, as I embark on this journey. But otherwise, I mean, we did the cabinet clearing earlier this week. So that's funny too, just seeing like what, maybe you need to go to the grocery store whenever you get home and just planning accordingly, like thinking about it. And also, I mean, everything always works out. So
And it's funny with our daily W's when we're on vacation. Chelsea and I are always on the tail end of our vacations. If we're able to leave our daily W's for each other, our wishes are always like wishing for smooth travel, wishing for smooth transition home, wishing for a flow once we get home. And Chelsea, I don't know about you, but I've seriously, since we're doing the daily W's, I've experienced more of a flow from my transitions. And I think it does have to do with the conscious articulation of this wish and of this desire. It's almost as if we're sending angels, like little pockets of energy into the future, and they're helping to smooth our way a little bit for us. This is how I feel and experience it. Therefore, not to stick the head in the sand and just be like, oh, when I get back, I'll deal with it. Or, oh, when but not to be afraid to wish for smooth travels, to wish for and wish it aloud to someone else or even to yourself in your voice journal, and then kind of see how it works out for you. You might be pleasantly surprised.
I couldn't agree more. Words are spells. That's why they call it spelling. So speak it, the power of the tongue. It is literally like a superpower. Speak what you wish into existence, put it out there. And yeah, maybe it comes true in a day and maybe it comes true in 6 months. You never know. Like that's not up to us, the timing. But I also believe that there's a huge power in articulating and expressing verbally what it is that we wish and desire to come to fruition.
Amazing. Well, at this point, I'm going to plug next week's episode because we've already decided it's going to be on setting boundaries. And I just feel like the articulation of boundaries is like a little sneak preview to help ourselves have those wonderful, strong, resilient boundaries. But you'll have to wait for that episode. And for now, we're going to bring it on home with our beautiful Daily W. And I think Chelsea's going to start with her win and wow.
Yes. So, my win for today is that I woke up in literally the best mood. I had this insane dream, and it felt like the most transformative dream I've ever had. I could not believe it. There were just so many insights. And usually, whenever I wake up in the morning, it takes me a little bit to really kind of be there. I like it to be very quiet and just calming. And I woke up just like excited. And so that's a big win for me. And my wow is that I'm really grateful for the opportunity to travel. My life, I feel, is out of a storybook, like a fairy tale. Not that everything is perfect, but it feels very enchanting and magical. and I am grateful that I get to live it.
Oh my God, that's so poignant. And I love that and so profound. And I want to remind everyone listening that if you heard our low point episode, you heard Chelsea touch upon times in her life that she couldn't get out of bed and she wasn't sure what's the point of living. So if it isn't lighting you up to hear her talk about her current enchanting life, I don't know what would. But it also hopefully can give all of us the hope and knowing that it is available, this path for everyone to experience that. And like she said, it's not going to feel like that 24/7 for anyone, but more and more to be able to feel like, wow, we're in our correct life, we're in our path, it's an enchanted, blessed path. Yeah, we wish that for all of you. Well, that's like a little preview wish for me. I do wish that for everyone, but I think my official daily W wish for this episode has to go to my daughter, my 18-year-old who got into a pretty crazy ass car accident just 2 nights ago, and we were so relieved to find that she didn't have any broken bones, considering that her little teeny Toyota was hit by a giant truck and her airbags deployed, the car is totaled, and it's basically a miracle that she walked out of there and she's still walking, but she is badly shaken up and she's feeling all the after effects of that kind of an accident. So my wish is really for the highest solution, healing, resolution for her to experience physically, mentally, emotionally, for as well the other person who's in the car accident with her, for everybody to be able to move forward, resolve all the issues, feel even better in the next phase of their life, like that this will ultimately be an up-leveling for her physically and psychologically. So that's my wish for my beautiful daughter.
So beautiful.
I guess that wraps up our
Yes,
episode.
yes.
Happy that you join us every week. We look forward to making your day brighter and brighter again and again. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that this episode has brought you some new ideas, some new tools, something to try out, and that it ultimately brings more brightness to your life.
We love you. Bye.